Coming up, the first Alaska Native congressional representative reflects on her first 100 days. A look at dentistry and disparities, plus a half-century ago, Indigenous women shaped public policy and remain active today. I'm Aaliyah Chavez. Join us for those interviews plus headlines from the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona State University welcomes 3,500 Indigenous students from Arizona and across the nation. It serves one of the largest populations of Indigenous students among U.S. colleges and universities. We created a sense of place for tribal nations to create futures of their own making through community outreach and research, taught by world-class Indigenous faculty where they see a reflection of themselves and their experiences. Find community at ASU.
This is the ICT Newscast with Felicia Frizzell.
Amarawa Hopa, thank you for joining us. We start at a small college in suburban Pennsylvania that is grappling with its history of looting a Native American burial site. Swarthmore College apologized in early May for displaying Lenape artifacts and remains that were unearthed a century ago. In 1899, 30 remains were taken by Spencer Trotter, a Swarthmore professor. In the college's apology, the institution says it doesn't know what happened to those remains or artifacts. Before the 1940s, Philadelphia, which is nearby to the college, was a mecca for the legal sale of human remains for scientific research. Swarthmore President Valerie Smith recognized that these remains should have never been removed and on behalf of the college apologized for the harm it has caused. A building named for Trotter is currently under review after this history came to light. In Canada, tribal leaders are reaching across the medicine line to learn more about keeping Indigenous communities safe. Calls for Native-led policing grew more urgent after the 2021 mass stabbings on the James Smith Cree Nation that killed 11 people. So in April, leaders from the Prince Albert Grand Council met with the Navajo Police Department in Chinle, Arizona. This meetup is part of an effort to investigate positive methods to police First Nations communities. PAGC Vice Chief Joseph Tassani said it was important to gain more knowledge and experience in Indigenous policing. The findings will go towards the design and cost of a study under the Federal First Nations and Inuit Policing Program. In Colorado, there's a soon-to-be housing initiative for Native people. Denver will be the basis for a 187-unit housing and health facility for those who are transitioning out of homelessness. This project was made in collaboration between the Denver Housing Authority and a national affordable housing group called Mercy Housing. Residents are set to have access to medical, behavioral, and dental care provided by the Denver Indian Health and Family Services. Despite only being 1.4% of the region's population, Native Americans and Alaska Natives make up more than 6% of the homeless population. Units will be open to all applicants earning between 30 to 60% below the area's median income. This facility is set to break ground in the summer of 2024. Scientists have partnered with the Rosebud Sioux tribe to take on the challenges of climate change within its territory. The South Dakota tribal nation has created its first ever climate adaptation plan. While it was released in 2022, it will be implemented beginning this year. The tribe worked with the North Central Climate Adaptation Center on threats and changes to its environment. That includes in the ranching industry as well as severe weather. The plan urges the tribe to increase food sovereignty, promote habitat conservation, and build a climate center. Funding came from a grant of over $1.5 million to implement the report and build the Sicangu Climate Center. Tribal leaders say it will be operational within 5 years and are emphasizing the urgency to act. And those are the headlines for the ICT Newscast. The country's first Alaska Native Congresswoman has just completed her first 100 days in office. ICT's McKenzie Allen-Charmley has this interview with Representative Mary Peltola.
Well, Representative Mary Peltola, thank you so much for joining me. It's great to see you again. To start, congratulations on your first 100 days in office. I was hoping you could reflect on what exactly that accomplishment means to you.
Thank you, McKenzie. It's amazing. It's been 100 days. It, on one hand, feels like 5 days, and on another hand, it feels like 500 days. Time is a weird thing here, but it has gone fast. It's gone very fast. I've been able to go home a number of times, which has been really good. Yeah, mostly it just feels like things have gone by very quickly.
What are some of the biggest challenges within your role?
Well, personally, it's very different because I'm so far from my family and my support group. And of course, I miss my children. They're in 9th and 11th grade this year. And this is the first time I've really been without my kids. But like I said, luckily, I have been able to get home now and then to reconnect. But professionally, I have had a lot of advantages, so I don't want to sound at all like I'm complaining. It's just some significant differences. Number one, we're just so far from Alaska and the way Alaskans do things. It's very, very partisan here. And of course, you know that by watching television and watching the news, but to be immersed in it is really something different. I mean, even reporters, when they give me their card, they'll say, I mostly cover Democrats, or my beat are House Democrats. And so that was very surprising because I came up in a time where Alaska was very nonpartisan, and we remain very nonpartisan and willing to work with anybody and everybody to solve problems and get through our challenges. And I also came into politics when journalists were very apolitical and they were very unbiased in regard to one party or another.
You mentioned bipartisanship, and what is it like actually working in Congress and having to navigate through that bipartisan environment?
Well, luckily I like people, and I like all people, and I don't usually see people with a partisan lens. I don't look at people and say, oh, that's a Democrat and that's a Republican. I just see them as humans first and foremost. And then the Democrats have been wonderful to work with. They were very, very helpful in making sure that I had an audience with the president to talk about Willow when we were working hard on that. They have been very welcoming and encouraging, and a lot of opportunities for mentorship on both the committees that I serve on, the standing committees. There are subcommittees where I've been asked to be the alternate ranking member. So that means the alternate to the highest ranking Democrat on the committee, on the subcommittee. So really good mentorship opportunities for me to be mentored, lots of great advice. And then I also benefit because Congressman Young had been here for so long, and he had welcomed literally every single member of Congress here when they were freshmen. And he has some tremendous and really deep friendships in the House. And I've had different Republicans come to me and say, you know, in essence, I still have so much love for Congressman Young and I don't know where to put it. So I'm just going to keep trying to help on issues that he cared so deeply about. So it's been very welcoming, and I haven't had any negative experiences so far in terms of partisanship. I think one of the downsides is just folks on the outside wanting to project onto me certain labels or values or agendas that I don't have and that I don't associate with, and I find surprising that people would put those attributions on me. But it has been very good working here, and I've been finding creative ways to get next to Republicans, get around them, joined caucuses where it's predominantly Republican, so I can get to know them, because even structurally, the way that things work here is in the chamber, the Democrats are mostly on one side of the room, the Republicans on the other side of the room. In committees, it's very segregated. So being on different caucuses where there are Republicans has been very beneficial.
And what advice would you give aspiring politicians hoping to get involved in Congress and change it for a better future?
Number one, don't give up. There are many times in public service and in public policy where you might feel disillusioned. Things aren't happening quickly enough. People are dragging their feet, or, just this inertia that a lot of us feel. Most policy changes take at least 10 years. So that's my biggest piece of advice is don't give up, stay vigilant. If you get depressed or disillusioned, take a nap, eat a good meal, visit with friends, and then get back at it once you're well rested, because we need people engaged for the long haul. We need to be thinking about the long game, and that is going to require that we have young people like yourself and others part of the discussion.
And finally, what are your hopes and goals for your next 100 days?
Well, I've been really focused on delivering results for Alaskans, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. I want to see the dial moved in Alaska in terms of energy, infrastructure, services, protecting freedoms. The quality of life for everyday Alaskans and Alaskan families is what I'm really focused on. One of the big issues that I care about is food security. I want to make sure that all of our families, all of our children, all of our elders have access to nutritious food. As one of the richest countries in the nation and one of the richest states in our nation, I think that there is no reason why we should not have nutritious food in every household, and every child and elder have access to that nutritious food. And service members, a lot of our service members in the military are on SNAP benefits or on food stamp benefits. I think that we really need to do a better job supporting both people in active service and veterans to making sure that they have access to high quality and nutritious food.
Well, Representative Mary Peltola, thank you so much.
A report from CareQuest Institute for Oral Health, the Society of American Indian Dentists, and the National Indian Health Board's Tribal Oral Health Initiative says there are a number of factors that influence oral health for Native Americans. That includes things like structural racism and a lack of necessities such as access to water, healthy food, and adequate housing. ICT's Shirley Sneve has this interview with Mescalero Apache dentist Felicia Frizzell.
Felicia Frizzell, thanks for joining us. And I want to talk to you about being a dentist.
When I was in kindergarten, I remember saying, when I grow up, I want to be a dentist, but I didn't really mean it. It was because my kindergarten teacher's husband was a dentist. But I always knew I wanted to be in healthcare. And growing up, I'm the oldest of 7 kids. I'm Mescalero Apache. And we were always at the Indian Health Service Hospital in Mescalero with my mom's pregnancies and just all the things that would happen to us children. So I had a strong interest in science, and I really planned or intended to be a family practice physician. And the dentists at IHS, they were always very interested in me, and they'd say, "Oh, we're going to make you a dentist." But at that time, I didn't know that dentists were actually doctors. So I thought it was interesting, but I think it's a common mindset on the reservation that you only go to the dentist if you have a toothache. They're only there to fix your teeth, and your teeth aren't really part of the rest of your body. For whatever reason, we have this belief, and even healthcare is set up that medical insurance is different than dental insurance. So there's this whole separation of mouth from body when that's not the reality. The mouth is the window to your overall health. And so I went to college. I was the first in my family to go to college. And at that time, I was pre-medicine. And I truly intended to go to medical school. And it wasn't until I was in graduate school doing a master's in biochemistry and molecular biology that I heard some presentations from public health people and Indian Health Service, and they were mentioning that American Indians and Alaska Natives have the highest oral health disparities in the country. And I started asking more questions because I did know, growing up, you see the children with the silver teeth, you see our elders who don't have teeth, and it's just accepted. And I learned that there weren't that many Native dentists. And in fact, the very first Native dentist, Dr. George Blue Spruce, he's still alive and well. And then I also learned that dentists are in fact doctors. We're actually surgeons of the mouth, and the requirements to get into dental school are the same as those to get into medical school. And when I learned more about the dental field and did some shadowing, it just seemed like the perfect fit. As a child, my mom, she taught me how to sew, and my dad taught me how to do beadwork. And I love doing crafts and working with my hands, and just having that hands-on encounter with the patient where you physically do a procedure on them and then you get them out of pain. And you can also educate them, you can improve their lives, and you can also increase their confidence by just improving their smile. It's the best feeling when you've changed someone's confidence and self-esteem, where they feel comfortable going to get a job, when before maybe they couldn't smile without uncovering their mouth.
It's interesting that there's a study now that shows that we really do have bad oral care as Native Americans. What's going to happen? I mean, what are we doing to fix that?
In regards to the paper that we worked together on, I really appreciate this paper because it looked at the aspect of racism in healthcare. And, it might be one of the first papers that has done that for American Indian health. And it is an interesting aspect. Like, there are many barriers that prevent people from accessing oral health care, geographic barriers, financial barriers, transportation, fear, but also the way people are treated when they've gone to the dentist. If they've had poor experiences when they were children, they might not want to go back, or if they felt like they were treated poorly because someone didn't understand their culture and why their teeth are the way they are, they might not want to go back. So I believe this is a reason why it's very important for me to treat my people in my community, because we have an understanding and it's less judgmental when we can have that patient-provider encounter. We as Native people know our people the best, and it will take us to fix it. We can't rely on the federal government to fix it. Our tribes are going to have to take responsibility and ownership of our own healthcare. It'll start with an educational pipeline to encourage our young people to go into the medical professions, and also healthcare management, so that we can finance and build our own hospitals and dental clinics to take care of our own people. There must be a focus on preventative dentistry, because if you have a small cavity, it's much more affordable to fix a small cavity than it is to wait and get a root canal and a crown and an implant. So some of us are going to have to help with the preventative dentistry aspect. Some of us are going to have to work on the public policy aspect so that we can expand Medicaid and Medicare to include oral health care as a standard of care and treatment.
The health of your teeth can really affect the health of your whole body. I mean, you can have diseases in your mouth that really become debilitating.
For our pregnant mothers, the oral bacteria can get in the mother's bloodstream and enter the fetus's bloodstream. And there have been studies that show that women with poor oral health, their babies come out at lower birth weight. And that bacteria is found in the womb from the mouth. And the bacteria is pretty aggressive. It can get into your heart. It can cause heart infections. If you're diabetic and your blood sugar is not controlled, people who have diabetes can see ulcerations on their feet, and they can see that those ulcers aren't healing. But the same thing is going on in their mouth with periodontal disease. And if you were to look at the ulceration in the mouth, you would see it's a huge ulcer that's not healing, and people end up losing teeth because of their diabetic condition and their oral health condition being poor.
So Felicia, you've inspired me to keep my teeth clean and to think about my grandchildren going into careers in dentistry. So thank you very much for your advice.
Oh, you're so welcome, Shirley. Thank you for having me again.
The 1973 occupation of Wounded Knee made household names out of men like Carter Camp, Dennis Banks, and Russell Means. But women also played powerful roles in the occupation. They were honored during the 50th anniversary commemorations of the key event in American Indian movement history. ICT's Shirley, Sneve, and Stuart Huntington were there.
The Warrior Women Project celebrated the women who put their lives on the line in 1973 at Wounded Knee. The project gathers oral histories from the women of the Red Power movement. Some of the veterans of the occupation were in Porcupine to share their stories. Lavita Yigo talked about the spiritual awakening she underwent when she joined AIM.
I was not taught my Kiowa traditional ways. I didn't know anything about my Kiowa ways, but it taught me when I went to Wounded Knee of the spirituality of what it was all about, what AIM was all about. And I wanted that. I was hungry for something for that, and I found it through the American Indian movement. I found my spirituality.
About 200 people came to Porcupine, like Diane Bird, who left her teaching job in California to join the occupation. She returned to Pine Ridge for the 50th anniversary commemoration.
I was part of security working with these guys, and they set up a radio, and there was little radios in every bunker, and we kept in touch with each other, and they would ask, and it was controlled. There was a head of security, and the security would know where the people in the bunkers were and what level of fire to respond to, whether it was 100%, 50%, or hold your fire, period. Because we didn't have that many guns, and we didn't have that many bullets for those guns. We were surrounded by federal marshals, by FBI, with tanks, with all the latest weapons, like even from the Army, and we didn't know it, but we learned about that later. And all we had were like little rabbit plunkers, that kind of thing.
Madonna Thunderhawk has participated in every major Red Power operation from Alcatraz to Standing Rock. She says it's no surprise to find women at the forefront.
And when the Red Power movement came, in those days, your community was the ones that made those decisions and decided how things were going to run. So it was automatically a matriarchal system. Still is today. But we don't have to constantly make a big issue of it and run around and, because it's culture, it's tradition. It's the way it is.
Tradition, yes, but the women of Wounded Knee still inspire.
Their actions in coming together and reclaiming their rights as Lakota warriors, Lakota matriarchs, they did that for us. They made a everlasting imprint on generations and generations, bringing back the strength and bringing back the ability for us as, Lakota people to be able to be proud of who we are.
Definitely found the women speaking today to be so inspiring. About a year ago, there was a film screening at the Fargo Theater, and so I was able to sit down with Madonna and her team and her daughter, and so it was a very rich moment to be in the presence of giants that have paved the way for us. But yes, definitely find inspiration from them, and hope to continue pushing the work towards justice forward for all of us.
Pushing forward with a powerful message.
I'm not only a survivor of Wounded Knee, I'm a survivor of rape and abuse, domestic violence. I'm a survivor of those three. So I call myself, I used to be in the victim stage, or think I was a victim. I'm no longer a victim.
That's a good message.
Yeah. And if you're in that kind of trouble, get help. There's help out there. Get brave enough. Get courage in your heart to take a stand for yourself. That's what it's all about. And that's what AIM taught me That's what being in Wounded Knee taught me, was to be more bold, speak up. Creator didn't make you a mouth and not say nothing, speak up.
That courageous act of defiance was the beginning of a new era. I was in high school in 1973. My parents taught at the Flandreau Indian Boarding School in South Dakota. Suddenly, after the occupation of Wounded Knee, we became proud of our Native American heritage. We learned to bead, a simple but powerful way to embrace culture. In Lincoln, Nebraska, Shirley, Sneve, ICT News.
As the temperatures heat up, dancers and singers are getting ready to powwow. ICT's Stuart Huntington brings us the sights and sounds from the Denver March Powwow. It is the unofficial start of the season. Let's take a look.
The kid at door one Harley.
And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.